So let's start off with this smoke I'm going to show you. If you just stand right here, you don't need to line up on the wall or anything. You're just going to aim between this dark edge and this pipe, aim right there in the middle of it, and just throw that smoke, and it will land on the second box of Tetris. First of all, it will cancel the team Molotov that they throw at the start of the round for hut. It also gives your player here a one-way, so if they're peeking vents or door, they basically have a really strong fight. And of course, it gives a lot of space for the hut player against an A-rush because they can hide in the smoke, they can buy time for rotates, get cheeky off angles. Now in this video, I'm going to make a case of how you can use this smoke in different round openings against the Ts, what kind of util you can use, and what are the considerations you have to be aware of if you use that certain util. But first we're going to start off with a look at the timing of what the Ts see because you don't throw a Molotov and instead you just throw the smoke and they try to take a fight as fast as possible. So here's the POV of a T who decides to rush out a squeaky door, get to vents, and hold that guy on top of hut. Here's the POV of the T player who decides to play hyper aggressive and camp right behind squeaky door because there's no Molotov. So if as a T you try to rush out and try to peek this angle right here, that's the player who's going to be coming up through the smoke to peek you. It's really tough to see him, and of course you'll take a lot of HE damage, so you are going to die. If you're a T who's just going to camp behind door, first of all, you have to crouch to be able to see this guy's head, and it's really tough to see it. And because you're crouched, if you don't hit the insta one tap, you have no movement to fall back. You are going to have to commit to that fight. If you try to creep up closer, there can also be a guy posted on the top of a close hut right here, because there's no Molotov preventing him from playing this angle. So if you just try to walk up here, you are going to get picked off because your feet are visible first. With all the timing analysis out of the way, here's what I recommend the CT should do to open the rounds. Player 1 goes up the ladder with their Molotov. They'll Molotov hut. They'll HE squeaky. They'll go check anyone outside vents, then they'll just hold the door. And they can use the smoke as a one-way. If there is an A-rush, you can use the smoke for cover and just avoid all the flashes and try to kill the Ts before they pick your player who's playing at default. If you ever need to reposition mid-round, you can just right-click, drop a smoke here, and then go wherever you want, down vents or outside. In the round opening, you can also mix up your Molotov for squeaky. That way you don't have to check a player right here. You can just go peek the door straight away. You can also mix up your HE for hut if you think it's going to be a hut rush. Player 2 goes up the ladder. They'll instantly throw the smoke, and they can HE squeaky or HE hut. They can stay on rafters, or they can drop down if there are a lot of flashes being thrown. Generally play around default if there's a rush and try not to die. Your teammate will help you as soon as they have the chance to. And then of course, in the mid round, you can just jiggle hut with your Molotov ready. As soon as there's an A execute, you can just drop that. So now we're going to look at the different strats the Ts can run from the round opening and from the spawn. This basically just gives you an update of what the meta is when it comes to Ts playing around the door and what your round opening would look like versus it. So the first replay will be of Ts who are going to rush vents with the best spawn Hing the door, throwing a self smoke, and dropping down vents as fast as possible. First POV is of me trying to deal with a T who's rushing vents. In this case, I was not able to pick off the player dropping vents, but I did 40 damage with my HE. My teammate also tagged them, and if I have a teammate in mini who's spamming, that T is going to die. The next replay is if the Ts decide to do a vents default with a smoke for vents from spawn and a Molotov for hut, and the player who plays vents trying to drop vents on his own timing. It can be a rush or it cannot be a rush. So here's the POV of me dealing with a vents default where a teammate tried to drop vents late. As you can see, I can have clear vision of the door, and the only option for the Ts is to use another smoke that lands right here. So they have to use 2 smokes to drop vents if they want to deny the vision I have. The last replay will be of the Ts doing a squeaky rush onto A site. So they're going to have a hut Molotov, and they're just going to smoke mini and throw a lot of flashes Asian and mini. This is my POV against a squeaky rush. As you can see, I have a lot of space. I can of course go here, I can drop down behind the Ts if I want to, and I can just hide in the smoke if I crouch. So I can use this smoke to buy as much time as possible and make sure my teammate there doesn't get pressured later on. So hopefully you can see the effectiveness of this smoke and how you can use it to deal with all the different scenarios I presented. You can use this smoke however you want with other util. So you can skip a hut Molotov, you can molly Squeaky instead, you can double HE hut. That is entirely up to you. But think of this smoke as a counter to the team Molotov for hut early round. And by using this smoke, of course you don't have a smoke left for door, but you also have vision of the door. So if you're finding it really tough to just get that info, this is one way to counter that.